Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome Madonna and Nathan Rissman, the film director. No camera, no photography, please. Well, this is a question really for both of you. I am, because we are. I'm not defined without you. Madonna, Nathan Rissman, how did this documentary about Malawi and its AIDS-stricken children redefine your own lives and priorities?
Wow. Let's just start with an easy one.
Yes.
Okay, how did it, you mean the experience of making the film, how did it redefine? I think more than anything, two things that I understood in the process of making this film, and then Nathan can say what he did. I mean, because the journey included, and the education is so far-reaching, but I could say two main things. And one is that I went to Malawi in Africa thinking that I was going to save children's lives and make a big difference in their lives, that I was going to affect change in their lives, and hopefully I have, but the surprise to me was how much they changed me and how much evolution and growth occurred inside of me. And I realized that if you really want to change the world, you have to change yourself. So that was one big realization. And the other thing is how little it takes to bring joy to people's lives, how little it takes to change someone's life. From the $10 it costs to give children an education, the mosquito net is so inexpensive to save a child's life from dying of malaria. It takes so little to do something, and people are often very overwhelmed when they think about places like Africa, and they think, well, the problems are so bad, there's nothing I can do. But there's so much that all of us can do, and even the smallest thing can make such a big difference. So those two things were, I would say, the biggest things I came away with.
And what about you, Nathan? I must say, when I saw your film last night, I was shocked and in tears. For a first-time filmmaker, especially with such a documentary, I mean, how did it also change your vision of life?
Well, I really share a lot of what Madonna said, but I went in with a very specific job and to make a film, and I kept thinking that when that film is made, when we can show people what's going on, there'll be change, there'll be differences, people will be able to really help people. But I didn't realize that along the way, we were doing so much. I was learning so much. I spent time with so many people in so many different villages, and really, they changed my life, and I was able to change their life. Bringing some awareness to their village, getting a couple donations for mosquito nets, or helping build a treadle pump or something. So I kept looking to this end result, but not realizing that all the while I was doing something very positive. So there was success from the first day that we landed in Malawi.
Thank you so much. Your question, please.
Hello to both of you. Madonna said yesterday that it was very important for the international audience to watch this movie in Cannes. So it did generate the buzz you wanted. The question is that. And the second one is, what's next in terms of distribution? Who do you think should see that film? And will it have a wide distribution internationally?
The first one, a question?
The first one was, do you feel that it generated the buzz you were expecting?
Yes, absolutely. And I'm very grateful for it. So I think I speak for Nathan. We're both very grateful for it. What was the second question? Sorry, something about...
About international distribution. What kind of life do you want to see?
Right, well, there's a company called 𝘮𝘰𝘯𝘰𝘯𝘰 that we're working with, and they are helping us find homes for the film all over the world, and we've already made a lot of really great connections and and deals with various territories, and I'm really pleased with that. So I'm hoping the whole world sees it.
I have two questions, one for Madonna and one for Madonna and Nathan. Madonna, you're a real philanthropist, and I would like to ask you, what would you do if you only had 4 minutes to save the world? And
I'd go to Malawi with Justin Timberlake. No. Well, if I only had 4 minutes, well, I would have to spend it with my children. Yeah.
And about Madonna and Nathan, some of the children, they have the opportunity writing down a wish. Do you have any wish that you would like to write on a paper and somebody help you make it true?
Can you repeat that? I'm sorry.
Some of the children. Oh, sorry. Some of the children, they have the opportunity to write down their wish. So do you have any kind of wish that you would like to write down on a paper and ask for somebody's help so you can make it true?
Yeah, I mean, I think the wish of the Malawian child is that their story can be told, that they can show people how they live and cause a difference. People living in extreme poverty are desperate to tell their story, to say, please, I need assistance, I need help.
And they want to help themselves.
Yeah.
That's the main thing.
So, I mean, my wish is that we all kind of look within our own community and say, how can I help myself and my community? And by doing that, we can realize that, we're all connected, that I am because we are.
Gentleman over there, please.
Hi, I'm Peter from the Netherlands. I have a question for Madonna. You can also look at this movie as maybe an explanation for why you adopted David. Is that also something that you wanted to show the world with this film? And adoption seems to be getting more controversial and not less. And I wonder what your view is on that.
There's nothing controversial about the adoption.
You sit down.
There's just a lot of bureaucracy and administration and papers that have to be gone through, because this adoption essentially was the beginning of the creation of adoption laws in Malawi. Up until this time, there wasn't an adoption law. So consequently, I'm sort of the template or the role model, so to speak, for future adoptions. And hopefully, after we get through this adoption, it will be easier for other people to adopt children. So, and I'm happy to be the guinea pig. So, and the film was not made to explain the adoption, but obviously the adoption, the discovery of my son and the meeting of him was very, very intricately connected to one of the stories of the children in the film, 𝘮𝘰𝘯𝘬𝘰, who looked after him. And it was part of the story to illustrate how overwhelming it is to understand and recognize how many children are responsible for looking after other children. So it was part of the story. It was an important part of the story.
Yes, please. Over there.
Madonna, congratulations on a brilliant film. It was so moving last night.
Thank you.
Really brilliant. What I'd like to ask you, you showed very many private and tragic moments. How difficult was that to get the cooperation? Did you have immediate cooperation, or was there opposition to this?
Well, I think you should probably direct that question at the filmmaker, because he's actually, if I would have been around all the time, I think I would have ended up
Sit down, please.
people.
Sit down.
I think Nathan's specialty is that he has a lot of compassion, and he knows how to win people over and earn people's trust, and he spent a lot of time in all the villages with everyone, and they trusted him and opened up to him, so it's really his talent.
One other point, did your celebrity help you out there? Did they know who you were, the artist you were?
They didn't until all the paparazzi showed up.
Actually, Nathan, I'm back to you on what Madonna just said, and rightfully so. You are the filmmaker. You were the one who, thanks to your compassion, brought these people to show you terrible things and to just be real and be there. I mean, did you find at certain times tough not to put the camera down, literally? And what were the toughest moments that you as a human being and as a filmmaker find?
Yeah, I mean, excuse me, it's really tough to figure out where that line exists between when do I stop filming and when do I continue filming. But yeah, there's a story that about Joyce, a woman in our film, and her son dies, and I'd spent time with her in the hospital beforehand, and she really kind of just latched onto me, and so she said, can you please help me? Can you help us with the meal for the funeral? Can you come to the funeral since you're part of my life? They're very open in sharing grief or sharing joy or anything with me. They were. And you know, she was more than accommodating to let me film the funeral, but there were moments where, as I was filming, I just thought, wow, this is just so emotionally overwhelming to be. Anytime another human being is suffering, it's inevitable that we're gonna be affected by that, and I think that it's impossible to just film without feeling emotion. And yeah, there was many tears that I shed along that process.
Bonjour.
Gentleman there, please, yes.
Bonjour. Bonjour, merci.
Question,
bonjour from France. Question to two questions, one for each. There have been political and very great social films. There have been great songs about political and social issues. What do you think, Madonna, is most powerful, a song or a film? And question to Nathan. I read that you've been hired as a gardener, and that what you wanted deeply is to make a movie, and one way to do that was to get hired by Madonna. Is it a true story, or is it fiction? Can you tell us? Thank you.
Oh, you just skipped the first question?
So, Nathan, you're
I've been employed by the Ritchie family for a number of years and held various jobs, but
It's a great nanny.
it's Manny. No, I think that there was just a friendship that existed, and luckily Madonna believed in me, and she loves to I'm speaking for you here for a moment, but I think you love to give people opportunities,
Yeah.
and so I kind of just, anything that was put in front of me, I tried my best to do the best that I could do,
And I noticed.
And yes,
So yes, I was the gardener for a while.
noticed that it worked.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. A question over there, please.
Yeah, hi, Nils from Norway. I had a question to Madonna. I wonder, you as an artist, what did you learn from Africa and Africans during your career, and particularly dance, perhaps, also culture? And what should we as Westerners learn from Africa today? Thanks.
Well, did you watch the film?
Yeah.
Yeah? Okay. Well, because I kind of say it in the movie, but I'll say it again. I think what I learned most from Africa is in my experiences there in making this film, is that people are the same everywhere. That while it looks like they're experiencing, and they are, many hardships under very adverse conditions, and the suffering there is palpable and tangible, and it seems like they have so little. The irony is that when you come back to the world that we live in, where we seem to have so much, you suddenly start asking yourself questions like, well, but everyone here is miserable, and everyone here has depression, everyone's taking antidepressants, and everyone's complaining, and we have so much, and we have so many distractions. And so I say it in the movie, who has it right? Who really needs to be saved? Who really has the problem? So more than anything, it helped me understand that great paradox in life, and that it's not so clear-cut, and that we have as much to learn from people in developing countries that have very little, but have a great appreciation for life, as we do in our own very privileged worlds.
Question over there, please.
Hi, Madonna. Stephen Schaefer, Boston Herald here. You said at the beginning that one of the things that you found was that the growth, how much evolution and growth occurred inside of me. And I wonder if that's what you were just referring to when you were talking about that awareness of how with so little you could be so happy.
Right.
And the other thing was, why do you think you got so much controversy over adopting this little Malawi boy? It just seems, you see it as a karmic thing, or it just seems like you had so much crap thrown at you for something that was basically humanitarian.
Did you say, see it as a karmic thing?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I suppose everything that happens to me is a karmic thing. It was meant to happen. So yes, it was painful and it was a big struggle and I didn't understand it, but in the end I rationalized that when a woman has a child and goes through natural childbirth, she suffers an enormous amount. So I sort of went through my own kind of birthing pains with dealing with the press on my front doorstep, accusing me of kidnapping or whatever you want to call it. But I had to go through some kind of process, and in the end, it made me stronger. So I can't complain.
Question here.
Bonjour, je suis là.
Oui.
Bonjour, vous parlez français? Un petit peu.
Oui, un peu.
Un petit peu.
Mais pas avec moi
I'm Stephanie from Canal Plus France. It would be a kind of schizophrenic to be one day in the Carlton Palace and another day in Malawi for...
The Carlton Palace?
Yeah.
Okay. Yes, but that's the beauty of life. And, you know, I went to India over the holidays, and one minute I was in a palace, and the next minute I was on the streets of Bombay, and there were beggars and children living on the streets. And, I mean, it's important to see the extremes of life, and that, like, I'm going to sound like a record, repeating myself over and over again, but that people, everywhere you go, it's interesting and important to see that no matter how much you have, we all have the same issues, and I am as moved by the beauty of a palace as I am by the smile of a child's face who's lost their parents. So I'm not sure I answered your question, but
actually there's a striking scene to me anyway in your movie when you see the cleansing process after death, and I must say this was not the moments that I found at the same time both horrified and where I understood how much tradition can unfortunately get into the way and help spread the disease.
Right.
When you found out about that and you filmed this, how did you feel about the paradox between tradition and the spreading of AIDS being ordered by it?
Well, I think that you know, when Madonna and I first realized that this was happening, we were shocked and wanted to find out as much as we could about it. So we employed the best of the best, and I think that Dr. Paul Farmer was the one who really enlightened us on this. And he said, you know, the only way to combat this is to provide proper medical attention, to build hospitals. It's hard work, it's resources, and we're not going to lecture people for having strange traditions.
It's important to not be judgmental. Yeah, I'm sorry to interrupt you,
No.
but our reaction was outrage at first and judgment. But once again, you look around the world and you look at a lot of the cultural and traditional practices that all of us have with our own children, even in the supposed civilized world. And it's important not to judge and to, I think the best thing that we can do in a circumstance like that is educate people. That is ultimately the greatest empowerment. And like Joyce Banda says in the movie, you can't go to the chief, the village chief, and say, what you're doing is wrong and you mustn't do it anymore. You have to give him an alternative. So.
Question here?
Hello. Yes. Hello, all of you. I just saw the movie, so as you can imagine, I'm shocked. And you made me cry for the first time, Madonna.
Ever?
Yes, for the first time you made me cry.
Oh.
You made me dance before, now you made me cry.
Okay.
You know, I'm sure and you know that with this movie you will make people think a lot, you will make people understand a lot of things, and you will be understood. And I'm wondering if one day you will forgive the people in the world who made fun of you, who wrote bad things about you. And my question is this one.
Madonna, do you think that one day you will forgive 𝘯𝘂𝘯𝘕?
Who?
You don't know 𝘯𝘂𝘯𝘯𝘕, Madonna? She's a French humorist in France, and like a lot of people in the world, she made a parody of you at this time when you adopt David. And now she feels guilty, for real. She feels like she have betrayed you because she's a big fan. So I want to understand if you will forgive these people and Florence, and if you can answer to her here, she's called 𝘯𝘂𝘯𝘕, to say if you will forgive these people who said bad things at this time.
I forgive you, Florence.
Wow, what a relief! What a relief!
She can go to sleep at night.
A question over there, please.
Hi, I'm Anjali from India. I'm a film director, writer, and I write for press for the largest newspaper in India, the Hindustan Times. I want to compliment you and first thank you for the film. You're like a window into Africa for me. After a film like Out of Africa and all the popular stuff that we see, this really makes me understand the people. So thank you. Secondly, you feel Indian, Madonna. I have always felt that you've been an icon for me. There is an area, and there are many areas, but there is an area like Kashmir where I'm trying to make a feature film because I've been debating, should it be a documentary, should it be a feature film? There are actually 1 million films possible in areas which are sealed and do not come out into the world. Thank you so much for doing something like this. Would you consider doing a film on Kashmir and supporting?
A film on what?
Kashmir, the
Kashmir.
problems in Kashmir.
I would consider it. Yes. Would you consider it, Nathan?
Well, I look forward to it.
Thank you very much. A question here, please.
Hi, I'm Ward from Belgium TV. I was wondering, since you also premiered the movie that you directed in Berlin, and now this movie that you've produced here in Cannes, what your ambitions are for the next couple of years and decades of your career, both on the music side and then together with the filmmaking side, and who maybe your inspirations are, because I guess that Al Gore, for instance, must have been an inspiration for this.
Absolutely. Well, I'd like to make more films. Making this documentary was, I love documentaries anyways, so I would like to make more, and specifically focusing on children, and children in other parts of the world. And I feel like Nathan and I have started something really wonderful, and we would like to continue, and we have ideas about problems going on in the world outside of Africa that we would also like to focus on. So I'd like to continue to making documentary films and educating people and bringing awareness to problems going on that people need to know about. And I'd also like to continue directing feature films for myself. So, and Al Gore? I don't know what his future plans are. His film was absolutely an inspiration, but he is an inspiration because he's a person that a lot of people made a lot of fun of and picked on a lot, and I'm sure there was a lot of satire on him, and he sort of came back and really stuck it to people, and he made a film that I consider to be one of the most important films of the 21st century. So.
Two last questions.
After this documentary, did you hope to get some political support to get through this dramatic situation? Because we all know that it's a political problem, in fact, because Malawi is an abandoned country. So did you hope to get some political support?
Did I get political support?
Or did you hope to get one?
From Malawi, from the Malawian government?
From the other country of the Union of African countries.
Well, I would hope to, but at the end of the day, I've sort of decided that if you want to change your world and you want to change the community around you, it's about doing it from the grassroots level, and it's best to not rely so much on the government because there's so much bureaucracy involved with changing things from the government level. So I would be happy and welcome their support, but I'm not relying on it.
Last question here.
This question for Madonna. Could you clarify whether the father of your adopted baby is now accepting the adoption? And can you set the record straight on whether you believe his natural mother died of AIDS or not?
Yes, his mother did die of AIDS, and yes, I met his father, and he has absolutely agreed to the adoption.
One last question about the documentary before we leave. Yes. Yes.
In India, we need something like this, and this film needs to be distributed in India. And right now, I can offer to help you distribute this in India.
Great. Maybe you should have a chat with 𝘮𝘰𝘯𝘕. Okay, good. Excellent. I agree. I agree. Okay.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. Thank you, Madonna and Nathan, for bringing this documentary to Cannes and to the world.
Sorry.
C'est pour les photos de famille. Non, quand ça commence, attends, il est en train de me bousculer, je vais me péter la tête. Arrêtez de vous appuyer. Arrêtez, putain. Arrête de t'appuyer.
Please back, please.